Right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I have some ideas in my mind. So pray for me that I don't get any of the tech computer demons come on for when I have the interview at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time with Dr. Joshua Sijwade. Um, remember, so I think I have figured something out though. I thought it was something just in Zoom because I'll have to remember to maximize the Zoom screen. Otherwise, we'll have the problem that I had with Father Sebastian uh, on our interview, where it was like it basically had the small. I forget what it did. There was something weird, but anyways, when you capture a Zoom, so what happens is the person you're interviews, you have a Zoom link. They're on Zoom. And then through the OBS, you got to capture that. What always happens is their audio's louder than, and you can't control that in Zoom. But what I think I can do, I think it's audio output capture on OBS. I turn that down. Now, the difficult thing is I'm not going to know if that's working until we're streaming live. By the way, do you want me to put the link in? Here's the link for the upcoming. One second. I accidentally touched or open up the wrong YouTube, and then it'll start playing. And people are like, I can hear
It's a
J-Dad
great
talking in the
joy
background.
to
If you accidentally touch a tab that's another YouTube, because I have a million tabs up, it'll start playing it. Weird, huh? Closing some of these tabs down. All right, I'm gonna put the link for the stream that's later today in the chat. Here. What we're gonna go over is Dr. Sijwade's recent paper. As you know, before I get into that, going back a couple months ago, my debate with Dr. Trent Dortry and Christopher Tomaswowski, my interview with Dr. Garby, where obviously the Orthodox position is that Christians and Muslims do not worship the same God. I used a lot of Garby's arguments. And then Dr. Sijwade wrote an amazing article, Do Christians and Muslims Worship the Same God? A Philosophical Investigation. Now, it's what I like about this is, and we'll get into it, it's a different argument for the same conclusion. And I have no idea how they're going to get out of this. But also what's really good about it too, it's a critique of Roman Catholicism. Changing dogma that's not supposed to change. And so it's a great refutation that the Roman Catholic Church is not the church. It's not the church of the first millennium. It changes its dogma. And by the way, notice they always say, "Oh, well, that was an infallible pronouncement." It doesn't matter because it's still, and he goes into this. I'll let him talk about it. Doesn't have to be infallible, right? The ordinary universal magisterium is binding. You can't change. So these people they don't care. There's nothing you can say. They're always kind of pope splain, but hopefully that'll be brought up too. Notice it's a non-falsifiable system. Well, that's not what that means. That's not, well, you see, well, what could refute Roman Catholicism according to a Roman Catholic? Ask them, they'll be like, nothing. Oh, it's the Church of St. Peter, and it says the gates of hell will never prevail. So there's nothing that could. I can always, it's like, all right, whatever. Literally become Satan worshippers. Change all the doctrine and be like, well, still, that's why it's papism. It's not Christianity. It's whatever the Pope says. Yeah, Pope splaining. Okay. I will warn though, it is a difficult philosophically and theologically. So forgive me ahead of time that when we get into this, it might be the details and technicalities of the argument may go over most people's head. And I was mentioning to a parishioner about, yesterday about this. It's not that the actual topic's difficult. I think most people intuitively know that the entity of Islam is not the Christian God, with just getting stuff wrong. It's like, but they're fundamentally referring to the same entity. It's just they are totally incorrect about these other things about what and who God is. Okay. I think most people realize that's malarkey. You don't need an education and college and a seminary to understand that. So then why do these arguments get so complicated? Because they make it complicated. And then it requires people like Dr. Garby and I and Dr. Sijwade and myself to go into the complexity of philosophical arguments to show that, to defend our position and to, those aren't needed in order to understand that Christians and Muslims do not worship the same God, and that God is not the same entity. I want to make that clear. People often find like, oh, it's so confusing. I don't know. It's like, they're confusing. What did I say in my paper for reason? The hardest problem is convincing people the problem isn't hard at all, but really easy. Heretics and philosophers make oftentimes really straightforward, easy issues really complicated. We got to go in and do all the heavy lifting and be like, oh, look, it doesn't work. Okay. So just so you know, all right, so that's one. I mean, it's a long paper. If anybody wants to read it, where is it? I put it in the chat. One second. Where did I put it? One second. There. Or follow along. Right, what else did I have to announce? Oh, I remember. Please contact me if you're interested in signing up the Canvas 16-week course for philosophy of science. We have been able to get, if we get the college to chair or dean to sign off on it, you can even transfer those units. We're still working on having them just accredited, so you don't have to do that, but it is a full university course, 16-week, graded papers, assignments, live office hours every week, and free educational software, Canvas, and access to that even after you complete the course. As long as Canvas exists, you have free access to that. So if you're interested in signing up for that, please contact me. What is going on with please contact me if you're interested. That's what I'm trying to say. And well, that's a great question. Do most people care about the papacy? Probably not. I mean, your average run-of-the-mill kind of Catholic going more cultural. I mean, they care about the papacy in this, like, that is, I mean, it's almost like a cult of personality. It's like the Pope. It's like that's, but as far as the theology of the papacy, like, probably not. Good question. Good question. What do you do if one believes God created the universe but doubts that Christ? What do you do? I mean, a lot of these questions are just too general. Like, it's the specifics and the person that, like, because you got to know how how a person will react. There's no kind of one size fits all kind of response to, because people are different. So it's really kind of hard to answer that unless I know the person, how they would react, how best to respond. So it's, I'm sorry, that's, I mean, obviously it's a problem. It reminds me of something. Was it that Gnostic guy, psychedelic dude that came on to talk to Patrick and I on Church of the Eternal Logos? And he had this kind of false dichotomy, like, why do you not believe in Harry Potter? And you believe that's a fictional story, but you believe that it's just not the gospel today. Jesus walked on water. I'm like, well, first of all, the two stories are qualitatively different. If you can't figure, Harry Potter isn't theology. So if you're too dumb to just be able to also, J.K. Rowling says, I wrote it and it's fictional. But authors and the apostles, for example, the New Testament, are saying these things actually happened. These are like, so big difference there. But also, what do you mean it's so ridiculous that the creator of the universe, who spoke and the universe came into existence and all of being, who sustains all the, right, all existence, all entities, the laws, makes knowledge possible? Like, you're saying that sounds weird that he could walk on water? Like God could walk. No one, $2. Why are you not Mormon? Because I'm Orthodox, first of all. But yeah, I've had no intention of joining a polytheistic Muslim space cult religion. Created by like charlatan, like it's pretty easy. Yeah, false prophet doesn't matter. Like, even if the theology wasn't just absolutely ridiculous, it doesn't match the first century of the church, like first millennium of the church. Does Gödel's incompleteness cause problems for Orthodox? Why? It doesn't demonstrate separation from God's mind. I don't know where you got that. Because Joseph Smith writes himself into the Bible, like, it's a good question. The Orthodox theologians specialize in Mormonism. I mean, there was the father in Utah, obviously having to deal with. Oh, my blank on his name. He just moved to Texas. We have some families here that converted from Mormon. Like, they're usually the best. Like, the obviously. Because I don't think that Mormons are forthright with what, when they're arguing with you and what they believe, like, they're not forthright. The very fact that even their kind of missionary and apologetic method is to be like, oh, we're the same. We believe in Jesus, like that's their starting point, shows that there's something kind of shady going on. And so I find it really good to find somebody who's Orthodox that has converted. They know the psychology of people who belong to the Church of Latter-day Saints. They know the doctrines, and they're the best. One family I was talking to, because it's a cult, it has a really strong hold of people, and that they're saying. So first of all, they told me there's nothing. A regular tithing attending Mormon, they're not. They're never going to concede. There's no arguments that they're going to interpret that those are kind of temptations from the evil one, and that it really is a subjective fideism, that it's just like, I believe, and I all those are obviously, these are temptations from the devil. Like, they're not going to entertain them. They're not going to look and be like, my paradigm logically, are there actually problems in anything that's brought up? They're going to be like, oh, obviously that's the devil trying to get me outside of. So one of the Mormon families up here that converted to Orthodoxy had said, there's nothing you can say to. They're not interested in dialogue. They're interested in getting you into their church. And the only people that he reaches out to in that family is people who aren't regular attending, that might have had some issues and doubts. So he's like, those are the only people that you can basically get to. However, I think publicly it's good. And remember, like 2 months ago, everybody was going hard on the Mormons, and they were losing their minds. I thought that was a great demonstration of just objectively and publicly how ridiculous their theology is, how emotional it is. They're good. I'll tell you this. They're really good at creating a brand, an image, an aesthetic. They nailed it. Clean cut. White boy Mormonism, Muslim. Is that what they always say? Islam for white people. But the problem is, they're not they're like, I use that because they deny that, obviously, Trinitarianism, but they're polytheists. There's no God the Father, right? Every God the Father has a Father ad infinitum. So there's an infinite amount of, like, gods and potential gods, and none of them are uncreated. Although there's some kind of primordial energy that's uncreated. So there's this weird kind of monism mixed in, but that doesn't exist in the form of a god or a godhead until it comes to be at a particular time. So it's a huge mess, but they've nailed it as far as the aesthetics. Clean cut, conservative. They're, family values, community, almsgiving, outreach, patriotic. It's like, oh, they're always so nice until they're not. That's what we saw a couple weeks ago. Nick Kobitz, isn't that? I think Gödel's incompleteness theorem just proves that's tag. What is tag? It's either autonomous, axiomatic systems, and no axiomatic system can be self-justifying. It's incomplete at some, or it's revelatory theism. So, like, actually, Gödel's incompleteness proves orthodoxy. It's showing the failures of autonomous axiomatic systems and 2 weeks ago. I don't know what happened 2 weeks ago. What did happen 2 weeks ago? That's an interesting question. I'm going to start asking people that. I'm going to pick a random week and be like, what happened 3 weeks ago? What happened 5 weeks ago? Nothing happened with Mormons 2 weeks ago. Last couple months, it's been all quiet on the Western Front. Yeah, they piped down. I haven't heard anything. It's been about 2 months. Been about 2 months. That's exactly. But what did happen 2 weeks ago? And I taught classes. I played bluegrass. Um, yeah, it was. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, it was months ago, not weeks ago. Yeah, that is contradict. There's no way to actually prove anything to be true. Is self-refuting. How do you know that? I mean, that's another. Before even just getting into the contradicting nature, just ask people like, well, how would you possibly know something like that? Because I haven't seen it. It's like, so fallacy from ignorance. I've never seen anything proven as true, therefore, or a fallacy incredulity. Well, I just can't believe when things are proven that they're actually like, well, that's not a problem with the proof. That's a you problem. I had a friend. He would drive me crazy. He was actually a philosophy professor. I'd give good. And I knew they were good arguments. Like I'm not being um egotistical. Is like I usually know. I'm like this is a good argument. And my friend would be like, I'm not convinced. I'm like, I don't care. Like that's not my problem that you're not convinced by something. If the argument's good, the argument's good. You not liking something or not wanting to be convinced by it, it's not my problem. You need to talk to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, and a priest. So, and it's not clear what does it mean to conduct a study? Like, why is that the way forward? I mean, these people just have these platitudes. They never think about what they say and what that means. Oh, yeah. The book and bride. I want to talk about that. Cancel culture. Good point. Really weird that this is coming up. I've noticed this before. This is how you know that the left and liberals are demons. Like they're not serious people that really are concerned about truth. Like they're again, we've gone over the dark triad. They're sociopathic narcissists with Machiavellians, the dark triad traits. I started noticing the last couple months on threads and different stuff on social media. They were like, oh, snowflake, why are you? And I'm like, that was a term from conservatives to talk about leftoids losing their mind. And okay, now they're using it's like you can't use it. It's our word. How about that? Now they're using so remember it was conservatives criticizing the left for cancel culture, right? And now they're using it. And I'm like, see, they're weaponizing. Now, obviously, if I wanted to be charitable, they'd be like, oh, they're just trying to point out logical consistency. Well, for people that don't care about being consistent and logically consistent or being like, no. That's why I always say, I'll never. It's like when people who are atheists come in and try to lecture you on morality, be like, well, that's not true. I'm like, I'll be danged that if I let somebody who's not Christian lecture me on the faith and morals. But I want to actually say that it's not cancel culture. So notice they're not actually concerned. This is a typical thing of the liberals and left. They're not actually concerned with the meaning of words and the precision. They're concerned with weaponizing words. So and they're concerned with spell words, right? So it casts a spell. That's why they use the R word, and it's not retarded. That's the good one. That's the good R word. Anti-Semite, Nazi, fashion. They use these, and if you ask, like, they'll never be able to pin down on, but they keep it purposely ambiguous so they can shift it and move it around, right, to control you, to, interesting enough, to cancel you. So that's not the meaning of cancel culture. What we have is, and they've been like, well, I thought you were champions of free speech and stuff like that. They don't even know what free speech. They're literally just, I mean, they're like the NPCs. And yes, I know people on the right can be NPCs too, like especially with Zionism, and I get it. Book and Bride 1999, thank you for addressing the question. Absolutely. Thank you for your. They don't even know what these words mean. They don't care. Free speech is not like, you can't, as Justice Holmes said, yell fire in a movie theater. You cannot use speech that incites violence. I will say I don't agree making, like, quote unquote hate speech illegal. I don't think we need to make any of this, like, it's already codified in law that inciting violence is not protected by the First Amendment. But notice free speech doesn't apply to the workplace. You can't say whatever you want in the work, like, that's a private, or at the college or university, like, they have a right to fire you. Code of conduct. And now also, like, oh, cancel. It's like, we're an extremely sensitive and violent time, and people on the left champion and calling for violence and celebrating it. That's not cancel culture. That's not. I mean, put it this way: the cancel culture is, I disagree with your political positions, so we're gonna cancel you. That's not what this is. It's what it's always been. A company has a code of conduct, things that they can determine what you say, and certainly inciting violence and celebrating deaths is nothing. There's nothing new. Like, no company would allow that, and so they're getting what's coming to them. Get these people out of there. Number two, suppose it were all's fair in love and war. You guys declared war. You're celebrating. You can't go on the battlefield at this point and be like, well, I thought you didn't believe. Do you not realize the social contract? I can make that argument. The social contract's been broken. There's no obviously. But I don't even need to go there. Just say that like nothing's new into like nothing's changed. The same policies that workplaces and colleges and schools and universities had always in place. You can't talk that way and think they're. Furthermore, this is how you know they're totally dishonest and disingenuous. They don't want to have a dialogue with you, right? If they thought that what's going on is cancel culture and that you should have free, quote unquote, free speech in the workplace, then guess what? Ask them. Then are you proponent for removing the laws on sexual harassment? Can you sexually harass people in the workplace? I thought you believed in free cancel culture. What like the are you you know? It's so stupid. Yeah, again, I'm not a MAGA, but like, yeah, let's get real. Wearing a MAGA hat is not the same thing. People wishing 80 million people who voted for Trump. I saw some guy on. This was insane. I actually blocked. I was like, yeah, I don't want to have it, dude. So there's a Montana elk hunters Facebook page. There's a guy going around because the people that posted it were saying on the Montana elk hunters, have you seen this guy before? That's how it was brought up. Oh, I should just pull it up. It's actually really funny. Dork Jansen dancing in something $5. I keep hearing I have to get a spiritual father to help me. No, you don't need. Most people don't need a spiritual father. You don't need a spiritual father. In most cases, you have a priest. You can do most of it. You ask your priest, "Can you give me a prayer roll?" Yeah. Thank you for the support. What other? Just make sure I'm not missing any. Are you ready? This is really funny. Oh no, it says content's not available right now. Why? I don't want to scroll through the. There's tons of posts in the Montana Elk Hunters Facebook page. I'll just tell you what. There's a guy going around like harassing people, sending instant messages and stuff. And what's weird, if you look at him, he's a hunter fish. Like you would never think that he was a leftoid libtard. But he's going around and he's going after people he thinks that are MAGA Trump supporters. Picks on this one guy, and what he did is he's challenging him to fights. He's like, "Come fight me. I'll pay you two." This guy was like, "I'll pay you $200." This guy, like, it was so funny the exchange because you're reading it, and the guy was like, "Why?" He's like, "Because you're a MAGA." He's like, "I'm not a MAGA." He's like, "I didn't even vote." He's like, "Well, you look like one anyways. Come fight me." And he's like, "I'll pay you." And it's like, supposedly, this is this guy that I'll show you what's his name? Josh Merrick. I blocked him because I was like, well, I don't even want this guy in. Not that I. Oh, maybe I can't find them once you block. Should I go under people? It's weird. Oh, here, people. I'm not gonna find them since I blocked them. Anyways, the people were like, "Oh yeah, that guy's notorious for like challenging people." It's like the fights and he's like, "What are we, 15 years old?" And then what was really funny is like all the people were like, "I'll fight him." I'll like, I'm like, this is so crazy. And yeah, you think MAGA people are the same. Wishing death to 80 million people who voted for. Or, as Father Josiah, why is this widespread violence? Somebody had said, well, it's always been violent. It's, they shot JFK, and I don't remember. Yeah, the world's always been violent, but Father Josiah's like, we've never seen this widespread kind of cheering on and like, there's no way. Nobody was cheering on. Like, you didn't have in the entire party, a political party, cheering on the death of JFK or what. Like, we have like the majority of Democrats cheering this on. Like, this is like, where have we ever seen something like that? We went over the interview. The statistics of how many on the left think that violence is politically justified. And interesting enough, people were like, well, both extremes are bad. What a stupid dialectical. That's, what's also extreme? Murder versus saving somebody's life. Both are bad because they're extremes. I'm convinced, like, you should have like if you say three stupid things like that, you should have your like voting rights revoked. Can you believe these people are actually voting? These people are teaching your children. That's why I'm totally fine with quote unquote canceling. Get them out of here. Like, you want people around our kids like this? These all people also believe that it's perfectly fine to brainwash and mutilate little children, push pee-pee in the poo-poo on our kids. I mean, they sexualize them at a very young, like, these are the people, so absolutely cancel them. For what we always would have fired some. This is nothing new. Like, you cannot talk that way and expect no consequences. And they're trying to manipulate you and get you to like, oh, isn't that? I thought you. It's like. So I said, we're way beyond dialoguing with. Yeah, it's poop pride. It's disgusting. Like, and that's what they try to cover that by not talking about. I saw this like, why are you so afraid of a rainbow flag? It's like nobody's afraid of that. Represents diddling kids, poop pride, poop fetishes, and you're bringing this into the schools and at a young age and sexual drag like hours and like absolutely not. Nobody's afraid of anything. All right, I'm going back through the. But come on, let's get real. You want. I mean, a lot of these people are teachers and counselors and stuff. You want people teaching and counseling our children who are calling for violence and believe that the other side should be killed? And then complain like, oh, cancel culture. Shut up. I'm sick of it. I like, seriously, I hate emotional manipulation. I hate being manipulated. You're not supposed to say, you're supposed to be. Stop it. Like, you're not. I mean, what a revealing of, like, that we don't have to actually put up with it anymore. Isn't that great? I mean, what a childish thing. Eat the poop. What are you, scared? I mean, this is stuff like kids would. You know, they find something gross or like a bug, be like, what are you scared? Like, what is the matter with you? 5 years old? I'm not scared of disgusting stuff. I don't want it in my society, in my schools, and in my country. The fact that we're standing up proves that I'm not scared of it. Oh, I know. Why do you care what adults do? I've actually figured out a way to respond to that. That's a narcissistic, because people who don't care about anybody but themselves is a selfish narcissistic. That's why. How about that? Kind of flips it around. Yeah. If sticking your pee pee in your poo poo in somebody's poo poo isn't a choice, then how is somebody sticking a knife in somebody, like, I mean, what is it? We're just all determined, like, it's determinism. It's like, well, then you don't have any argument if somebody kills you, like, and does. Alter Void, $10. I'm afraid people steal my stuff, so we should make it legal. Yeah. Yeah, great point. And notice we'll say, oh, they hate fascists, right? Which doesn't exist. Like, you know that, right? That was a historical phenomenon as a reaction to communism, Bolshevism in the 20th century that's properly understood in the context of World War I and World War II, okay? There's no fascists out, as far as I know. Like, so if they're anti-fascist, there's no group that actually are fascist. What that means is, well, the opposite of my position. that's why it's like you're just making everybody want to be if fascism, because it doesn't actually exist, is being defined by the opposite of your position. You guys are idiots. You're making everybody want to be a fascist. What is fascism? All the points that that I stand against. Like, don't you realize people are going to be like, well, that's the group I want to be part of. That's what I say. Like, they create their own worst enemy. Um, oh, anyways, the reason why I brought that up. Okay, but that's their bogeyman chimera that they create in their head. And so if it's, well, I can't help but being, people can't help being faggots and sticking peepees and poo poos. That's not a choice. Well, why can't people say like, well, fascism is not a choice? They're born that way. People are born fascist. No, well, no, they're taught. You have a choice. Like, what is it? It's another example. All for thee. My critique that I'm all for thee, none for me. No, so the things I want to justify, well, those aren't choices. But the things that I want to critique, those are choices. Can you believe that people allow people to like just arbitrarily tell me like what's freely chosen and versus determined? Yeah, like seriously, like, and by the way, it's theoretically possible that real fascism that existed. I'm gonna specifically pick out uh, Italy and Spain. That, yeah, if you keep it like that, actually might come back. That might actually be politically the only thing that stopped. Like that might be a necessary evil. Like I've thought about. Not that I'm encouraging, but I'm saying it's the logical historical kind of consequences of that political, like maybe that's just exactly what happens. The more you push, the more that'll happen. Somebody asked a question, what's the difference between essence and nature? They're the same thing. Typically though, entities, essence is kind of could be more general. Entities, so they're the same thing. Okay, so an essence is a nature and a nature is an essence. It's used in different ways. We speak about uh, essences. Natures are concretized, right? With an entity has a nature. Seems to be more specific to an individual concretized, whereas essence can be kind of more generic of just talking about. Does that make sense? But they're the same. I mean, yeah. But they do say that if you're. Oh, you're right. I didn't even think about that. That's a good. I mean, on left, the ones like the sin is the art word. Recent. What they mean by that is anti WHITE. And because that's the only group that can be a race. And you'll see in the conversation, like, they have this kind of Darwinian, and interesting not because they're accusing the other side of being this, but they have this kind of Darwinian that WHITE people are just biologically determined to have these vices, let's say. And it's like, so that's why I think it's just like, they're not, I mean, that's a good point. They're not, um, they're not, it's just a proof that they're not concerned with dialogue. It's like, that's why it's like they have to be eliminated. How would the tag argument not cook us if it was done in the inverse? Well, I guess it would. If premise one were true, but premise one can't be logically true. That's like saying if somebody made an argument that a necessary condition to be a bachelor is being single, and somebody says, yeah, but what if it was like, wouldn't that, what if bachelor met, um, what if you didn't need to be single to be, and it's like, well, then there's, if bachelor means unmarried male, and you're saying, well, it could be both unmarried male and a married male. Like, it's a, so it's just a nonsense. It's a, what aboutism? What if this logical contradiction was true? Would it defeat our argument? It's like, yes and no. Like, yeah, I guess if logical contradictions and impossibilities were true, like, yeah, we would probably not have a position to. Deduction's not evidentialism, by the way. And it is a type of deduction. It's an inference. Like, nobody's saying there's no inference, but evidentialists don't have a monopoly on inference and deduction. Probably. Maximus, probably grounded in metaphysical possibilities. Um, well, I can't. What would I say about the like? I can't really predicate anything of the essence. So if it were to be grounded, it would be grounded. Like, first of all, if that holds to be true in every possible world, what makes metaphysical and logical necessity true? God. I'm just working through out loud. Um, would it be then? It's if it's God, it's either his essence or energies. But I can't. I mean, it would be both, right? Like, because you can't. separate the essence, the energies from the essence, even though they're distinct. So I would say, I don't know how, because I don't, and like how that is of the essence, because there's no predications of that. It's completely apophatic. All I know is that, we, when we know stuff and predicate, it's of the energies, but it doesn't mean that it's therefore not of the essence as well. Does that make sense? Arthur asked them to be like, put it in a logical form. When people say it's a contradiction, saying that Jephthah was offering his daughter as a burnt offering, so what is being affirmed and denied? Like, I don't. Tag doesn't have anything to do with second order logic. Nothing. I mean, other than tag has to do with everything, and it's like saying, what do pencils have to do with tag, or tag to do with pen? It's like, well, tag's basically reorienting you and saying that God's first and all things, grounds all things, like it's revelatory theory. So, like, that's what pencils, that's what second order logic, that's what cars, coffee, like, that's what tag has to do with all that stuff. Also, I just move away from the conversation of coherent and foundations and stuff. You're just gonna confuse yourself. Nobody. Orthodoxy is not coherentism. It's not foundationalism. There might be true elements in each of those. Uh, you getting into those where it's going to confuse, like, about foundationalism and coherentism is going to confuse you more than it's help. So I wouldn't even use those words. They're not necessary to make an argument for the existence of God. Um, Shoot, I was just gonna make a point with something. Something that Sour Cookie just stated. Something I keep. Something I keep noticing online. With art, like, people, they're tropes and memes where I just know that when somebody uses and says a certain thing, I'm like, they're literally getting this from Reddit. It's just being passed on. Um, they haven't even looked into it. They don't actually know what they're talking about. I think stuff. Maybe I was thinking about this with respect to what's going on with Charlie Kirk. It was Strawman the worst. The worst. Like, oh, he was a racist. He didn't like black people. Uh he believed in gun violence, and right, all these. None of these people probably even watched Charlie Kirk. I'm like, it's just going. It's literally copy paste from. It's the same thing with the Reddit atheists. Copy paste, just the same stupid. It's like you haven't even stopped to actually even think about this. Bet you, as you said, remember people got this with Lord Voldemort, right? They just hated that. It's like because you're programmed. You're programmed to hate. You're programmed to kill. You're programmed to say all these memes. Programmed to hate Alex. And they've never watched it. Never watched, I guarantee you. Never read this, like. Because they're bots. They're just literally inhuman. Just repeat the line. And then we're stupid enough to think, oh, I could actually have a discussion and honest dialogue with and turn them around. I mean, that's our fault. I've fallen into that. Well, if I just gave them reason and arguments and logic, then they'd see the errors of their way. Stupid me. We should just use like Descartes' Cartesian skeptic. I should actually, when you get these sorts of people, like I'll just be like, I don't even believe you're real. Like, why would I? Descartes' problem, the other mind. How I don't even know that you're. Why would I have a conversation with somebody that I don't know is actually a real person? Even saying that to him face to face, be like, I don't know. You could be a robot, AI. I wonder what they would do. Like, I bet they would be like, not even know, but how do I know? How can I trust your argument if I don't even know you're a real human being that I'm talking to, and you could be an AI? I would love just to see how they react. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna get into the details about it, but like on the right too, I've talked to some people that there's certain things you can't even talk about. Like they have a full meltdown. I'm like, that's a leftoid tactic. I mean, just think about this. I'll go to something that's not political. I remember about 6 years ago, I was with a buddy and it was like, went to dinner, walked out, and I'm looking at the moon. And I'm just thinking about how ridiculous, like, how ridiculous the story is that we took Reynolds tinfoil wrap, got men through the Van Allen radiation belt that would cook us in tinfoil, landed with the cameraman already there, I guess, right? Filming the landing. Make a cell phone call in 1969 to the White House. Then come back somehow through all that. And then lose all the technology. Anyways, I was like just looking at the moon and I was like, I asked a friend of mine, you think we actually went up there? And he was like, what? Yes. Like, couldn't believe him. I'm like, he's like, you don't believe? I'm like, no. Like, I started to go through, just the usual stuff. And person, very conservative, Um, well, the dog ate the dog ate all the technology. We used to have this dog, and we used a space dog. He's a really good dog, a space dog. He loved just eating up all the evidence and the technology. You see. Um. Anyways, he had a full melt. Like, couldn't believe that such a normie boomer. And then it's just like, that's conspiracy theorist talk. I bet he still thinks that 9/11 is the official story. With and he's not a boomer, right? Just a boomer mentality. And yeah, then Russia sends a dog to it's like it's just so ridiculous. Dude. Like through the Van Allen radiation belt that nobody can figure out. And they've always got some story, just like the Pope splainers. Well, that's because and what I think what's always so funny, they're literally making up these responses. It's not because they read and studied. They actually make it up, which shows you, I'm like, you're scared that it isn't true. Why can't you just be like, I don't know. It sounds weird what you're saying, but I'm gonna have a meltdown and call you a conspiracy. Like, why is that? Be like, yeah, I don't think you have justification for that, but like, I just don't get why. The fact that people are making up like responses to the objections on the fly, be like, why are you doing that? You don't even know that that's true because you feel threatened. But it's so funny speaking about 9/11. I mean, especially the normie boomer conservative, right? And you have to be a boomer, you have a boomer mentality. What are the most here's on the hierarchy, right? As far as problems, this is what it goes to. Everything can be explained by what? Communists and Islamic terrorism. That's as high is their level of nuance and sophistication in geopolitics. Well, it's obviously the greatest evils in the world are Islamic terrorism and communists, right? And so they get stuck in this dialect. That's why they are Zionists. Well, because it's the Muslims, you see, are the worst. It doesn't go higher up than like they don't even question how Hamas, like who's behind Hamas, like, and if you say oh, that's because what evidence you have of that? That's correct. I mean, real. But if I told them, if I just made me like, well, it's all the communists, they just believe it, right? Just totally stupid. And it's not even hard just to look at the history. Like, I just don't understand. And that's particularly people, conservatives, are like that normie. The tinfoil hat fallacy. Anything I don't like is a conspiracy theory. That's a good. And also government, like, that's as far as, like, that's why it's just. I'm not saying there isn't real left right politics. It doesn't end there. I mean, that's what they think. That's where it's just like, it's low level kind of dialectics that, well, it's just. That explains everything. People are liberals and people are conservatives. And obviously, you got to be conservative, and left and liberals is wrong. That's the level of their nuance and thinking and sophistication. So look at the Charlie Kirk to kill it. Like, oh, it's this only happened and is only explained is can all be reduced that he was simply uh, a transvestite. Like, obviously he was, but like, they're a lot more complicated than that. No, just left and right, communists and patriots and Muslims and everybody else. You're out with that with terrorists. You're out with that with terrorists. Like, that's the level of sophistication of the boomer, the boom conservatard. Probably from, well, I don't know, growing up in the 40s and 50s. Like, McCarthy, like, oh, it's, everything's a communist. It's the, it was like, it's dialectics in which there's no further sophistication. Yeah, I do believe communism, Bolshevism, Marxism is evil. Like, of course I do. But not everything can be explained to. Let me give you an example. Why come the burgers at Mickey D's has gone up in price? Communism, that's why. There's communist infiltrators. Messing with our precious bodily fluids. Fluoridization is the greatest communist conspiracy mans know. To tap you of your life energy, life essence. Now, Mandrake, I do. What was the such a great? Which he's obviously making fun of that kind of. Now I don't deprive him of my essence, Mandrake, but I don't. I can't remember what the. The thing is, if I play it, I'm gonna get dinged on the. So my criticism, people on the right, especially in this time, don't use the leftist words. Don't be using the word anti-Semite, Nazi, or like. We got to get past ideology and these myths and stuff like this, and it's weaponized words, and become orthodox. Like, and those are weaponized words. Like, don't use sorcery, semantic sorcery, and weaponized word. Like, stop it. Like, that's what's got us in the play. You know, part of the explanation of like why we're in a place where things are like so violent. It's like, well, the conservatives and right have somewhat to blame on that too, because they use those words, some of those words, they play in that game, and those words dehumanize somebody, and right, create the in the social conscious that is literally the most evil thing you could be. So I always joke that, I mean, notice how in the liberal mindset, like how inverted their hierarchy of morals is. Diddling little kids, peeping the poo poo, uh, mutilating children, taking a poo poo on the street while you smoke, your crack pipe. Um, that's not the worst thing. It's being racially offensive. It's offending somebody. Like, that's on the hierarchy of. I mean, it's like totally. Or smoking a cigarette. That's the other one I was thinking about the other day. Is there's this weird kind of pietism, right? With like, and again, it's not because it's thought out. It's because they're programmed to, well, cigarettes are bad. Smoking's bad. Um, and so, but all these things that are like some of the worst, like that's okay, but like on the high, like that's how you worked out your hierarchy of sins. So, anyways, I want to encourage people on the right to stop using the, because again, it creates an ethos in society that if all these things are the most evil thing, then yeah, people think the ends justify the means. Like it's okay to use violence. So like, how about we as Orthodox get past that? Stop using those words. How about you explain concepts without having to use isms and yeah, smoking cigs bad, smoking medical marijuana, and getting jabs. That's good, right? They're just programmed to say this stuff. Like obviously they haven't thought about. Oh, I saw something on Joe Rogan. Speaking of jabs, and that was interesting. Again, one of these things that it's like you've always known, but like sometimes you just don't connect it in a proposition. He had some girl on, was interviewing. They were talking about long COVID, long coof, and he asked the girl like, "Well, how many times do you get the coof?" And she was like, "6 times." And he's like, "Of course you did." He's like, "You got jabbed, didn't you?" And he's like, "People who didn't get jabbed only got like the coof once or twice." And I'm like, I was thinking about, I'm like, holy smokes. I'm like, you're right. Like, I only got coof when it first came. What is it? Was it Delta? When it first came, 20, like, I never got sick from who got sick? All the people jabbing themselves. And who are the people that got long coof? Long coof. People got jabbed. Like, it's a vaccine injury. Like, and so it's so funny that, yeah, that all in the name of science and health, they do stuff that's. I mean, I talked about those moral things. Like, those are not healthy. I mean, we should be able to condemn the Skittles flags based on AIDS alone and sexual disease. It's like that flag represents disease morally, spiritually, and physically. Don't want it in my community. Oh, I thought you were for inoculation. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to jab people spiritually and morally and inoculate them against AIDS. AIDS, 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 AIDS. These people are hypocrites. They don't. I'm not going to get into the jurisdictional thing. I hate it. I get so perturbed. You can't say one jurisdiction is better than another. I won't allow it. I won't allow it on my stream. I won't allow it in society. I am going to make a task force. Every person that thinks that thought will have the Patristic Faith Police Intelligence Agency, PFIA, at your door, and you will be arrested. Parish by parish. Don't think about jurisdiction. We are sending out the Patristic Faith intelligence agents right now. Anytime you have that thought, we're coming to your door, and we cancel culture, dude. We are back. Cancel culture is back, better than ever. Yeah, it was like a bad flu, like the first like And it like the first one lasted a while, but once I built a natural immunity, I never got it. All right. Let's see if there's any more. Super chats. Any questions? Send in a super chat. And then I'll depart. Get ready for a stream. Shower up. Maybe get something to eat. Send emails to my students. I got to open up a quiz. Where some students have disability are allowed to get more time on their quiz. First of all, I give 60 minutes for like a 5 like more than this, but I gotta figure out how to go in and with specific students allow more time. I haven't done that before. Where so you can open up like in the educational software, this is Canvas on this one. How to it's like when I've tried to do this where I've allowed a student to retake a test or something like that, so it's like you do it twice and then it just when I do it for the specifics, it opens it up for all the students. And like I can't figure out why that's happening. So that's why I'm worrying with this one student that it's like I can put extra time in there. So that's something I'm gonna do. Any super chat questions? Make sure you like and subscribe to the. We gotta get those. I think we had subscribers being removed. I think people like I'm just stuck at 14 something. I can't figure it out. Oh, you know the other thing that's really weird too? So obviously there's a difference between the mRNA and like traditional vax. But again, there's a talk about mythologies and stuff like that. What does it always go to? Oh, you're an anti-vaxxer, right? That now RFK is an anti-vax. Like he never said that. It's the same as conspiracy theory. He was their guy too. I mean, he's literally bringing health and accountability into stuff. And what are they? They're programmed to hate him. I love that he gets angry and pushes back. But what do people always go to? This mythology about, like, yeah, but polio. Yeah, Patristic Faith SWAT team. Well, polio will come back if we don't have. Go look into the history of like that's a whole mythology around that too. Well, my grandfather fought in World War II. But polio. But that was my dog that the Russians put on the moon. But they sent a dog to the moon. Give me another one. But Fox News said it was terrorists they flew into. Give me another one. Come on. They're like the stupidest. But polio. That's actually a great defense of the moon. Like, we got to do a skit. What are you talking about? We didn't go to the moon in 1969. Polio. I mean, you remember what happened with polio? Just to like bring up random. Oh, here we go, dude. The true, genuine Orthodox coming in. You must be funny because you just said goblin here. By the way, you know, by that same reason, that's what the Lutherans and like there's Lutherans and Anglicans that say because conciliarity you have to be um it's always just like first of all there's been no historic case of setting a parallel jurisdiction that's not in communion with the other patriarchs. Like that's why. It's literally Protestantism. Like that's the same argument. It's like, well, they were ordained, so that's it's like, yeah, but you lose that as soon as you break from the conciliarity of the other bishops. Like, even if you're like, well, I got all my theology correct, like, yeah, but Flora, what do you mean we didn't go to the moon? My crest has Flora in it. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, that's another one. The the oh my gosh, I remember I was like in third grade when it happened. Yes, dinosaurs. Uh, the spacecraft. What was the name of that thing when we were kids? Challenger. Basically, it was like a Challenger explosion or something. Barely like exploded and because dinosaurs, eh? That's why. What are you talking about, I say? Don't you know about the Tyrannosaurus Rex, eh? Of course, there were giant lizards with bird hands on their breasts, chests. What a stupid. Boomers love dinosaurs. Kids love dinosaurs. No, I generally think, yeah, like, you know, the Leviathan and stuff like that. But like the whole, I mean, the whole lore. Again, we should have a whole podcast started transcending the mythology and lore and ideology to become orthodox. It's like, and why do you feel so threatened that like people even question? Like, I saw some people who were like, this guy should be fired from his job. He doubts dinosaurs exist. Don't you find that weird? Things that are so true that you have to be arrested, fired, right? Uh, your family starts like it's just so true that we have to like. Does nobody get that? That it's like obviously that can't all be. If you got to do that sort of stuff, you can't even like think about. Remember, the Koof was the exact same way. Like, yeah, I mean they're arresting people and making them lose their jobs for questioning these. Yeah, maybe we're wrong. Maybe like I don't. I just find it weird that it's like you can't ask questions now about stuff and want to be like, oh, I'd like to look through all the like. No, you'll be shot on site. It's like, well, obviously, then what you're telling me is not true. That's the Overton window. That's not acceptable questions in speech, and you will be sent to the gulag. You will lose your job. I need a better camera, but I need money. Mic's good. Mic's one of the best mics and the preamp, so I don't need. It's my camera. Yeah, I believe in dragons. Yeah, I'm sure there's something, leviathans and stuff like that, but like come like again, why push the dinosaur mythology so much? Because it was all tied up in evolution. That should obviously make you skeptical already that it's like, well, why does this thing look retarded, half bird, lizard thingamabob with tiny little hands on its. Well, that's evolution, you see. Don't question that. Because bones, that's why. Because we found a bunch of bones and put them all together to fit our con story that we're trying to tell you. Do you not get what we're saying? Because my fourth grade teacher says so exactly. Because polio. That's what come. What's the matter with you? Because everybody would have died from polio if the dinosaurs didn't exist. Just the way they tell us in evolution. Well, if we didn't go to the moon, everybody would have died from polio. Don't you know that? And communism. That's what come. Communism, Islamic terrorism is why dinosaurs exist. I mean, anybody that knows anything knows that. And that's what explains aliens. Now join the army. Or shove your head and get in the army, son. I mean, how stupid, dude. Oh. I really had people actually complain that, like, I even say this stuff, like, that I would be like fired from his job. He can't. He doubted feminism. Somebody actually, I saw that. Just like, you employ people who don't believe in feminism. It's like, because you don't believe in tiny. If you don't believe in dinosaurs, you must be part of Tiny Mustache Man's. And we all watched Quentin Tarantino prove dinosaurs through. What was the name of the movie? Inglorious Bastards. Of course, Inglorious Bastards proved dinosaurs. What do you? And we went to the moon. What are you talking about? It's Quentin Tarantino, for crying out loud. Now join the army. Yeah. Take your shots. Eat your soy kibble. Join the army. Die for Israel and save the world from polio. There you go. See how we tie everything in? It's all connected. All right, I gotta go. I really do. Listen. This time's for real. Because there's no more super chats. Bone Wars. Father, is your or my voice low? How would I know? You mean like this? Or... No. My audio is up like 180%, so... Oh no, it's at 100. It got reset. Blah! Focusrite amp. Yeah, it must have got reset. I don't know what. It was at 100. I set it up to 180 now. I know the balance. If I turn on the amp volume, it'll distort it. And Bitcoin from the devil. That's why, Bob Boucher. Yeah, go raid Jim Bob. Oh, my guitar amp. Are you asking my amp, my preamp that I use for this, or my guitar amp? My guitar amp is orange. My preamp that I use. Yeah, the audio equipment's fine. I don't need to upgrade audio. I need a camera. All right. God bless you guys. May the Lord keep you. May He keep you having humor, appreciating sarcasm, because that's going away. May He preserve you in being able to understand hypotheticals and analogies. May He preserve you in your strength to reason correctly and look for evidence and question things. And may He give us virtue. That's the last. God bless you, and see you in what, 2 hours? No, I don't serve in the Russian church. I was ordained in the Romanian, and I'm on loan and serve the Serbians. Although I've served in the Russian church before, I'm not part of, nor have I ever been in the Russian jurisdiction. Just so you know. Oh, I wanted to give... Here, the stream link. Thank you. God bless you guys. Thanks for the shout out from Greece. Until next time, at 2 hours. God bless.